The only way we're going to beat him is to impeach him. How about that? The only way, did you see that statement, fellas? The only way we're going to beat him is to impeach him. That is a terrible thing for this country.
Investigating, will you raise the debt limit? Will you sign a budget? Will
See what happens. We'll see what happens. I'm a very capable person. We're going to see what happens. I can tell you this. Let them get this angst out of their belt. And when it is, we can do things so quick your head will spin.
Now, what Trump and the Patriots are doing, they are building a brand new economic system.
I think we are taking the moral high road by identifying currency manipulation as an unfair trade practice. It really undermines the principles of free trade. And it's a natural response to say, if you're going to effectively apply a tariff against American goods through currency manipulation, making them more expensive in your own country, then our only recourse is to say, then we're going to have to do something as well. Unless we call them on it, we can't begin to seek these broader remedies that I think would start to bring about a level international monetary playing field, and that's fundamental to authentically free trade.
A brand new economic system, not just here in the United States, but with other countries around the world.
We're going to do a fantastic deal once we clear up some of the obstacles in our path.
We've got some fantastic many deals. Talking about many different deals, but we're having a good time. As far as UK and the United States, we're working on a very big trade deal, and I think it's going to work out very well.
Why do you think Trump and the Patriots have been making bilateral free trade agreements with different countries? Made a deal, or is going to make a deal with China, most likely soon with Russia.
As far as the currency devaluations, I've been complaining about that for a long time. And I believe that we will all eventually, and probably very much sooner than a lot of people understand or think, we will be all at a level playing field.
Of course, the US is definitely not the only major economy that is facing serious troubles. In fact, signs of economic trouble have been emerging all over the globe lately. The economies in Germany, Brazil, Italy, Mexico, and a number of other countries are also showing vulnerabilities, experts say. The uncertainty is exacerbated by fears of the potential financial fallout that could happen if the United Kingdom leaves the European Union in October without first reaching a deal on the terms of its departure. In particular, developments in Germany are quite troubling. Their economy actually contracted last quarter, and the German government is preparing to embrace new fiscal stimulus measures should its economy stumble into a deep recession. Nearly 2 weeks after Der Spiegel sent its first trial balloon about the prospects that the German government might crank up its fiscal stimulus if Europe's largest economy slides into recession, which, as we explained last week, is already on the cusp of doing, the trial balloons have crossed the Atlantic. Bloomberg reported on Monday that the German government is preparing to embrace new fiscal stimulus measures should its economy stumble into a deep recession, citing 2 people with direct knowledge of the matter. Now, we haven't seen talk like this in a very, very long time. For many people, the extreme pain caused by the economic crisis of 2008-2009 has almost faded from memory, but the truth is that many experts believe that what is ahead is going to be even worse.
Why is the US dollar the world's reserve currency?
The US dollar is the world's reserve currency. There tends to be one. So if you're the country with the best institutions, the largest economy, the rule of law, and relatively open to commerce, a trading nation, you can be that. Now, So what happens is there tends to be one reserve currency, and it tends to be a stable equilibrium for a period of time, but it's not infinite, right? The pound, of course, was the reserve currency for many, many years, but now the dollar has been for some time.
So what do you consider risks to that changing at some point in the future?
It's a very long-run thing. It's a fairly stable equilibrium. You have to think what currency out there would compete with the dollar, and they're really, would be the euro, or it's hard to see the dollar not being the reserve currency for quite some time.
People are going to speculate on different asset classes. People speculate on gold, currencies. You name it, people are going to speculate. When we think about this, and what I've said very publicly is I think the long-term value of any digital asset is going to be derived from the utility it delivers. So around payments, we think XRP is uniquely and extremely well positioned to solve that payments problem. It's extremely fast, at about 3 seconds per transaction, and it costs about 1/1000th of a penny to actually enable that transaction. So we often make the point that, well, where Bitcoin is very profound in solving that store of value, an XRP transaction's about 1,000 times faster and it's about 1,000 times cheaper per transaction.
This is why Trump is creating the parallel economy. Trump and the Patriots are going to transition us out of this system into a sound money system. It's going to show that this debt-ridden system is worthless. And sound money, well, that's the shining light. And this is where we are headed, and the central banks know it.
We are the most interested party in the success of the XRP ecosystem. We're very focused on our use case and how do we solve problems with XRP. But one of the things I'm excited about is you're seeing a growing ecosystem of other players investing in other use cases around XRP.
So trade finance, gaming, lending, smart contracts, insurance, identity, supply chain management. At the end of the day, a lot of the power of blockchain is kind of faithfully recording information that you value. And you want to make that information dynamic. You want to transfer ownership, and that's a payment. And so we believe that this Internet of Value concept, which kind of involves all these applications, really relies on having kind of a strong payments infrastructure under the hood. The way we inject XRP is at this source exchange. So in our Bob and Alice example, this is in South Africa. The system, you would purchase XRP at the source exchange for using your South African rand. The XRP ledger would let you transfer that cross borders, in just a couple seconds to an exchange in the Philippines, where then you could purchase Philippine pesos and send those out. Why is this better? The power comes from separating the action of foreign exchange from crossing the border. So at the source of the destination, you're within a single jurisdiction. You have regulatory clarity, ideally. You have kind of simple integration against a single type of payment system. And that's where you can do your foreign exchange into and out of the digital currency XRP. Then, moving it up to the other country, now you have this digital asset. It doesn't care about borders. It's open. Anyone can use it. It can get to the other side kind of in a matter of seconds, where you can kind of reverse and then pay out in the local rails.
One of the things I think is important is that whatever we do, we create a level playing field.
Well, and we saw over these past few months with the issues going on in Venezuela and other countries, the gold standard, something that the U.S. dollar has not been based off on for decades, that more countries are starting to build up gold. Any chance that we could have gold actually become a worldwide to actually be the currency used?
I don't think so, as long as the U.S. has authority over it, because we don't hold near as much gold as other countries. That would be terrible for the U.S. dollar. If gold were the backing for the world's reserve currency, China is way ahead of us in terms of that. Libya was way ahead of us in terms of that. Who knows where their gold is now? But the bottom line is it's not good for us. India would be way ahead of us. I think it's much more likely that digital currency takes over that space as opposed to gold.
Very much, Mark Carney. hope Sarah's sitting down because he is calling for the creation of a new virtual currency that could ease the reliance of the world on the US dollar, which he says creates some of the problems that we have today.
We've got the European engine, we've got the Chinese engine, we've got the US engine of this economy. Multipolar world, you need a multipolar currency. The question is, how do you get there? And I laid out some ideas of how you would get there.
The genius, if you will, of cryptocurrencies is that, as we all know, they're distributed. They cut out the central banks, they cut out the banks, and they're ideally directly peer-to-peer between you and I. And so the challenge for payment systems is to move in that direction, so we can instantaneously move money from my account to your account to the publican's account, the guy who runs the pub, directly. And what we're doing at the Bank of England is we're reorganizing the core of the system in a way that allows new payment providers to just plug in. They could be using distributed ledger technology, they can use other technologies, and we're in a position where these innovative so-called PSPs will be able to provide those types of services. You're seeing similar innovation amongst banks in the US, other places, and so this is coming.
I've been saying, I wrote about it in 2009, that I believe that a one world currency is the very thing that is going to usher in the one world government.
We are standing up for America and for the American people, and we are also standing up for the world. This is great news for our citizens and for peace-loving people everywhere. We believe that when nations respect the rights of their neighbors and defend the interests of their people, they can better work together to secure the blessings of safety, prosperity, and peace. Each of us here today is the emissary of a distinct culture, a rich history, and a people bound together by ties of memory, tradition, and the values that make our homelands like nowhere else on earth. That is why America will always choose independence and cooperation over global governance, control, and domination. I honor the right of every nation in this room to pursue its own customs, beliefs, and traditions. The United States will not tell you how to live or work or worship. We only ask that you honor our sovereignty in return. From Warsaw to Brussels to Tokyo to Singapore, it has been my highest honor to represent the United States abroad. I have forged close relationships and friendships and strong partnerships with the leaders of many nations in this room, and our approach has always yielded incredible change. With support from many countries here today, we have engaged with North Korea to replace the specter of conflict with a bold and new push for peace. The dreams that fill this hall today are as diverse as the people who have stood at this podium, and as varied as the countries represented right here in this body are. It really is something. It really is great, great history. There is India, a free society over 1 billion people, successfully lifting countless millions out of poverty and into the middle class. There is Saudi Arabia, where King Salman and the Crown Prince are pursuing bold new reforms. There is Israel, proudly celebrating its 70th anniversary as a thriving democracy in the Holy Land. In Poland, the great people are standing up for their independence, their security, and their sovereignty. Many countries are pursuing their own unique visions, building their own hopeful futures, and chasing their own wonderful dreams of destiny, of legacy, and of a home. The whole world is richer. Humanity is better. because of this beautiful constellation of nations, each very special, each very unique, and each shining brightly in its part of the world. In each one, we see awesome promise of a people bound together by a shared past and working toward a common future. As for Americans, we know what kind of future we want for ourselves. We know what kind of a nation America must always be. In America, we believe in the majesty of freedom and the dignity of the individual. We believe in self-government and the rule of law, and we prize the culture that sustains our liberty, a culture built on strong families, deep faith, and fierce independence. We celebrate our heroes. We treasure our traditions. And above all, we love our country. Inside everyone in this great chamber today, and everyone listening all around the globe, there is the heart of a patriot that feels the same powerful love for your nation, the same intense loyalty to your homeland. The passion that burns in the hearts of patriots and the souls of nations has inspired reform and revolution, sacrifice and selflessness, scientific breakthroughs, and magnificent works of art. Our task is not to erase it, but to embrace it, to build with it, to draw on its ancient wisdom, and to find within it the will to make our nations greater, our region safer, and the world better. To unleash this incredible potential in our people, we must defend the foundations that make it all possible. Sovereign and independent nations are the only vehicle where freedom has ever survived, democracy has ever endured, where peace has ever prospered. And so we must protect our sovereignty and our cherished independence above all. When we do, we will find new avenues for cooperation unfolding before us. We will find new passion for peacemaking rising within us. We will find new purpose, new resolve, and new spirit flourishing all around us, and making this a more beautiful world in which to live. So together, let us choose a future of patriotism, prosperity, and pride. Let us choose peace and freedom over domination and defeat. And let us come here to this place to stand for our people and their nations, forever strong, forever sovereign, forever just, and forever thankful for the grace and the goodness and the glory of God. Thank you, God bless you, and God bless the nations of the world. Thank you very much. Thank you.